fellow comic fans. I'm Vernon Kid here, coming to you again. How's everybody doing out there? Back again, as I said, episode 21 for this week's comics. As always, I'd like to give a shout out to Sensei, Blue Goblin. Of course, that's my mentor. Also give a shout out to my fellow YouTubers 3, Ziploc Gory and Deadpoolzilla, and everybody, all of my other YouTube family out there. Okay, let's get started with the comics, shall we? And got one independent, DC, Marvel. Let's kick it off, shall we? So we'll start off with Starborn, number 11. Yeah, Benjamin Walker has realized, guys, that what has transpired over time with his father, the legacy of his family blood ruling over other sentient species of alien, they've revolted against them, and they want all humans to die. So they took the fight to Earth. Okay, this is all building up towards the whole big crossover between the big three boom characters. So he realizes that it's time to change the legacy of his family for the better. And so that's what he decides to do in this book. Not bad, not bad. It's still leading all the way up to issue number 12, but not bad at all. Okay, DC time. Alright. Batgirl, number 2. Gail Simone. Issue number 2 leaves off right where issue number 1 left off. You know, Batgirl froze with her, and because she froze, there was a casualty. And the enemy that she's fighting in this mirror has some kind of past. We get to see a little bit of the past of this certain enemy, why he's doing this. It's almost like Punisher-like in a way, but it still comes off really good. Barbara really, still, to me, I have to agree with Gabi on this. I still need answers, DC, on how she really, recovered from her injury, because she constantly keeps saying that there's certain scenes where she's kicking really hard, and she's still saying, like, I gotta remember, I'm still just recently getting back on my feet. So she's still starting to feel the effects of being kind of disabled for a while. But as always, Babs is Babs, and she still pretty much shines as well in this issue of Batgirl. But it's still good storytelling from Miss Simone. What are you gonna do, right? Gail Simone. As again, I bow to her. Okay, moving on next. Batwoman, number 2. Alright. A lot of things are happening fast in Batwoman, from a conversation she had with Batman, and I don't want to spoil what that conversation was, between finding out who's been killing children and things like that, from running from the law, running from this special organization that is kind of like it's a black ops operation that is pretty much their sole purpose is to find people like Batwoman vigilantes, and just trying to be, still kind of falling out between her father. All kinds of stuff is going on in this book, and it's really good. It's really good. I'm glad that I picked it up. The problem I have, and I was just talking to one of my good buddies, Ziploc Gory, about it. Is it me, guys, or is it funny to see Kath like almost zombie-like pale to me. It's always funny to see everybody else with a good skin pigmentation, but when she's in her civvies, she looks pale, almost dead. It's really funny, and I'm like, why do you look like that? But other than that, that's just me nitpicking, just trying to be funny, just trying to make you guys laugh. But not good, not bad, very good in my opinion. All right, Green Lantern #2. Jeff Johns, Doug Mahnke. All right. For all those out there that are thinking, oh, Sinestro, he's a Lantern now, so he's good to the core. Yeah, right. From the first issue, we saw Hal down on his luck. He was in jail, got evicted from his apartment, kind of had a falling out with Carol Ferris. A lot of things. And then here comes Sinestro to basically almost like rub it in his face. Sinestro has a plan, and he's requiring Hal to help him with it. Bottom line, the gang, Mr. Johns and everybody like that, they are really, in a way, burying Hal Jordan to the point where, I'm going to spoil a little bit for you guys. Hal is almost like Sinestro's butt buddy. And I don't mean it in a homophobic way, meaning like Sinestro knows how Hal thinks. And Hal will do anything almost to require a ring, to get his ring back, because he's not really suitably adjusted back to his ordinary life. But yeah, it's coming that way. It's very sad to be a Hal Jordan fan now, because it's like, man, Hal, you sunk really low. They're burying you. But still, it's epic stuff, and it's still what Sinestro wants Hal to do really ups the ante now. But it's still good storytelling. Not bad at all. Alright. Moving on to Grifter #2. Alright. The Daemonites are everywhere. Or are they? Yes. I'm loving Grifter. I'm loving this. Thank you, DC, for adding one of my favorite Wildcat members into the DC universe. The question about this is Grifter crazy? Is he hearing voices that aren't there? Are the Daemonites real, or are they just a figment of his imagination, and he's just a homicidal lunatic going around killing people? You get your answers in this book, and boy, do you get your answers. There are a lot of like shocking like spotlights on this book, like shocking, like, oh my god, like seriously, things like that. And that cover is badass, and as you can see, that cover is badass. But this has definitely been really good. And if you're not on board, I suggest you give it a try. Give Grifter a try. You won't be disappointed, in my opinion. Not at all. And only 2 issues down, we go into the next issue where brother versus brother, in a way. Grifter #2. Last DC book, of course, Mr. T, Mr. Terrific. Eric Wallace, The Menace of Brainstorm. The first member of Mr. Terrific's Rogues Gallery. DC has said that's pretty much what this book was mainly is gonna also build up. Mr. Terrific is gonna have his own Rogues Gallery, and we see this. Brainstorm pretty much nearly does show. He basically shows off that he's pretty much a worthy adversary for the third smartest man in, and it's Mr. Michael definitely has his hands full with Brainstorm. The coolest thing that I have to say about is how Mr. T gets his mask on. And spoilers for you guys. His mask, his T mask, actually, he takes one of his T spears, and it nearly becomes like liquefied, and it goes across his face, which is pretty cool. It's almost like symbiotic in a way. I thought that was really cool. Mr. T actually tells a little bit of jokes because Brainstorm wears like a jacket or so, and he even says, "Man, I love the jacket. I need to wear something like that myself." You know, playing a little nitpick to his old way, his old look. But it was really good. We do see, of course, Karen Starr is still in there and things like that. But definitely, I'm liking what they're trying to do with Mr. T. Give him his own rogues gallery, and so far, Brainstorm, not bad at all. DC, gotta admit that, very good. Mr. Terrific, people. Okay, so we move on to Marvel, and I give you none other than my boy, Amazing Spider-Man number 671, part 5 of Spider Island. Dan Slott, Roberto Ramos. So we finally find out that Mary Jane has got spider powers, and she shows it off for a while, but she also understands now what Peter goes through. So there's kind of like a kinship there and things like that in the book. A lot of things go on in this book that are good, and mainly good to me. Little spoilers here, guys. During major fights, the people of Horizon and Reed Richards decided that we're going to pay Spider-Man back for things he's done for us by giving him back his spider sense. Now, remember, guys, I talked about this before on one of my other channels about how do I feel about Spider-Man not with his spider sense and things like that. We see it in this book. He gets it back when he's fighting one of the giant spider kings. And he basically says his spider sense and the training that he got from Shang-Chi are like a good mesh, a good combination, and they work well together now. So you got him back now with his spider sense, along with his own style of martial arts, which he and Shang-Chi have named the Way of the Spider. Good combination, and we see that in this book, what he can do with it. We also get to see some things that are troubling us, and it also gives us a sense of what is the outcome of this storyline going to be. There is a character here that sacrifices something that he bared to help the people of New York in this. I'm not going to spoil who that character was, but all in all, Amazing Spider-Man 671 was great. What the hell? And I will agree too. Thank God the Jackal's dead. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Marvel, for doing that. Okay. Alpha Flight number 5 of 8. Writing duo Fred Van Lint and Greg Pak. The team still is on the run, but they add the list of somebody to help them try to get back their country, and turn people and things like that. They get Taskmaster. Yes, Taskmaster's in this book. It was great to see him. It also implies that Taskmaster and Puck are pretty much good friends. Now, bottom line, it was good. but Taskmaster wanted money. So basically, it was funny. This is when we got the Alpha Flight robbing a bank to get Taskmaster his money, which is kind of funny. We also get to see what's happening with Aurora, North Star's sister. Like, she's going through some changes and things like that. Just some major factors in this, and it's really getting good. 3 more issues to go to get down to the bottom of what's going to happen to Alpha Flight. Will the country accept them again, and so on and so forth. Just hold this whole slew of questions that need to be asked. For Canada's premier team, I'm hoping they succeed. And but other than that, it was fairly good. I enjoyed it. But see, I'm a fan of Alpha Flight, so I'm going to enjoy it no matter what. Black Panther. Uh, his book, the first book, tied into Spider Island, and the only book. Bottom line, uh, Francis List is a good writer for T'Challa. The only problem I have with it is the artwork. I really don't like it. Looks too much like, I would say, a kid or so drew it in a way. T'Challa seems to have adapted and is really by sheer willpower fighting off the basics of the spider. Like, he's got 6 arms in this book. But it seems that coming up soon, T'Challa will be having his hands full when him and the Kingpin cross paths. And because of that, Kingpin sends out one of his best employees or assassins, Lady Bullseye. And we find out in this book that she's also been inflicted with the disease or so. But it's more about a package that Panther finds, and we get to see a little bit more, and we find out that this package is not a thing, it's a someone. And that's pretty much what I'll say about this. But it's leading up to something with the Kingpin, which is cool to me. Sorry about that. Next up, FF number 10. Jonathan Hickman still does a good job on this book. We get more of an in-depth look at what's to come in terms of, it looks like there's going to be an epic battle between the Creed and the Inhumans. The craziest thing is that Crystal, who is married to Ronan the Accuser, is staying with her husband instead of with her family. So those things are crazy. But the bottom line is, they're all preparing for what's to come. That's pretty much all this is. Sue basically tells Reed, I don't want any of the villains in the house anymore. Please don't do it again, Reed. Things like that. But it's getting there. And at the end of the book, we get a nice, good, I shouldn't say cliffhanger, but a nice, good, almost buzz of what's to come next in the book. But it was still good nonetheless. Okay. New Avengers number 17. Basically, if you read the one shot, this picks up where the one shot left off, the .1 issue. Norman has escaped from jail, and with the help of former Hammer members and people like that, he's rebuilding Hammer. The first thing that you take off is the Avengers are fighting a new version of Ultimo in this. Yes, Ultimo comes back, and they do something in this book, which AIM does, that really surprises us. They take a sample of one of the team members' blood. Who is that member? You want to know? I'll tell you. Just send me a message or so. But I'm not going to spoil it right here. But it's all about what's to come next for the Avengers as Norman is back and full in effect at Hammer and still trying to rebirth the organization that he lost during Dark Reign. That's pretty much it. Greg Roca, Punisher, number 4. Guys, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again to you. Greg Roca, superb on this book. This issue picks up is the aftermath of his fight with the Vulture. Not Adrian Toome's Vulture, the other Vulture. And Frank is wounded, he's bleeding, his skin's bubbling from the acid that the Vulture spit out at him. He's wounded, but just like any wounded animal, he's even more dangerous. And that's pretty much it is. It's just showing Frank healing himself, taping himself up, fixing his leg because he did break his leg, while the police officers are trying to track him down. And they know he's not a hero. They do go into a little bit of his backstory again, the Punisher. It was okay, just in case you didn't read it or don't remember it. But all in all, very good from Mr. Roca. Very good. I really enjoy. I'm really enjoying Greg Roca's run on the Punisher. I hope he doesn't leave that book anytime soon. Okay, you've probably seen this on Gabi's review as well. XMen Regenesis, the one shot. This was a solid issue of the aftermath of Skimish, and we get to see, okay, who's going on whose side. The funniest thing in this book, as well as basically who's siding with who, you have Wolverine goes to Iceman first, which made me very happy because I'm a proud Iceman fan, and asks him first. I'm starting up the school again. I want you there. Things like that. Great. But in the meantime, we also see like a battle between Wolverine and Cyclops, and they're like cavemen. And each time they get a new member, that person will join their side. There were a lot of surprises in this to make you think like, why would he side with her? The funniest thing to me is seeing Colossus bald in this. Colossus doesn't have his traditional haircut anymore. He's bald. But he won't go. I'm gonna let you know on that. He gives kind of a good reason of why he doesn't go with Wolverine, and it's mainly because of the fact that he knows what's inside of him now, and he even says it to Kitty, like, can you really trust me around kids? There's a lot of dark forces at work with Colossus, and he senses it. And that's pretty much it. But we get to see a lot of people go where I say, oh, okay, that's cool. We also get to see basically Wolverine talk to Psylocke, and she goes on and says, I'll still be loyal to X-Force. He goes and talks to Havoc and Lorna, and basically say, you don't have to join me, but how about, you ever heard of X-Factor Investigations? So yeah, there's a lot of things in this, but the fact of the matter is the team has been separated, and we'll just have to see what comes out of this. That's all. Cyclops kind of acts like a girl in this, but I'll let that slide. Yeah, he acts like a bitch. It's almost like Emma's got him whoosh, whipped. Okay. Uh, Ultimate Comics, Spider-Man #3. We kind of basically this book is we get to see Miles do his thing with his powers, and we also get to see what his friend thinks of Miles. Sorry guys, my eye is just really itching. I apologize for that. We really get to see um, Miles really shine and save people with his powers. And that's pretty much what this is, and how he's making it in the new school that he's at. That's pretty much all this is. No real big fighting, just some good old cool heroic saves and what's to come. That's pretty much it. Not bad. It's okay. Still, it's slow, but it's moving up. And last but not least, guys, Ultimate Comics, X-Men. Bobby, Torch, and the Shroud, aka Kitty Pryde, go to help their former teammate Rogue. She's being nearly captured by these Nimrods. The Nimrod android. We also get to see Kurt Stryker in this. There's a lot of things going on in this book that I can't really explain, but the major fact is that it's a rescue mission to save Rogue, and that was pretty much all we got. But we did get some good fight scenes between the gang, and Nick Spencer pretty much does a good job on this book. I won't lie about that. Uh, very much. Ultimate Comics X-Men #2. Alright guys, so that is it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed what I gave to you and delivered. As always, you tell me what you thought. What books did you pick up? And this is Mom and Kid. So peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real. Later.